Hello and welcome to another episode of Mad Dialogue with me, Michelle.
And me,
I
Skylar.
hope everybody is doing really, really well. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into it. So I came across a video the other day on YouTube. It was a reaction video and it was a young man. And when I say young man, he looked to be in his 30s. He basically was saying that he felt no obligation to take care of his parents when they became too old to take care of themselves. He said, even though they had taken care of him, raised him, and did a very good job, so to speak, he felt that he was not obligated to look after his parents when they became old. He was saying, like, if he's married and he has children, to move his parents in, it would be a big upheaval to his lifestyle. He'd have to consider how his wife felt and so on and so forth, which are all valid points. I'm not taking anything away from him. But it did get me thinking how many people feel the same way that he does. I mean, me personally, my father is no longer with us, all grace to him. My mother, she is, thankfully. When she reaches an age where she can no longer take care of herself, I am more than willing and happy to take her into my home and take care of her. And I have siblings, and I'm pretty sure they'll do their part. Also, my heart just wouldn't give to put her into a home, and in the sense of I'm the type of person where I'm looking at it that she wiped my butt when I couldn't wipe it myself. She fed me when I couldn't feed myself. Like, she carried me basically when I couldn't walk, them kind of things. So I just feel that it is my duty as her daughter to repay that. Not like it's a debt that I owe. I just feel in my heart that that is something that I would want to do. How do you feel about it, Skylar? Because you know already, I've said to you, just stick me in that nursing home next to Aldi's, and then I could just jump on my little scooter, go to Aldi, grab my bits, and get my menches for the evening, because I'll still be when that time comes. So
see, I don't know why she's dropping this. Like, this is something that I was like, yeah, okay, mum. Afterwards, when she said it, like, you know what I say, like, damn well that was shut down immediately. But basically, my views are, yeah, I understand this guy's perspective to a certain degree. Like, nobody actually asked to be here, so in that sense of like,
or do we? But that's a whole nother episode. But anyway.
But in that sense of like doing it for them because they did it for him. Well, I understand his perspective there. Like, he's like, I didn't ask you to. You know what I mean? I would not say that is right, but I get it to a certain degree, and also based on like your life and all of that. However, from my perspective, like, I just know my heart and myself, and I don't think I could live to think about somebody else taking care of you or my dad when you guys can't anymore. You know what I mean? First and foremost, though, who's to say that your parents will reach that point? Because some people do just like pass, and they could take care of themselves up until they did. You know what I mean? So I don't think he should be there stressing his head out about what he's gonna do when it comes to that, because we also don't know. But I just think
he didn't seem stressed. He already had his mind made.
But I just think it's also a bit. I just hope then, if that's how strongly you feel about it, that you'd at least make sure that you're putting your parents into a good home where they're actually getting taken care of. Because also in my mind, to me, that's like when some parents, and I'm not saying, don't send your kids daycare, but when they'll send their kids to daycares or to childminders or whoever, and their children are getting abused. Well, the exact same thing happens with elderly people. They go into these homes and they're getting treated disgustingly, and if not worse, because in people's minds, it's like, because they're adults, you know what I mean? They do abuse them bad.
Yeah, they do.
And it really hurts to see. So I could never even imagine somebody that I love, or even if you say you don't love your mum, but somebody who gave me life, to be in a position like that. You know what I mean? Like, it just, so I'd at least hope you'd at least put them in a nice plush place, because it just...
because once again, that's, it's just, these are just our opinions, and everybody has their own reasons for why they may or may not put their elderly parent into an old people's home. Now, for some people, it just makes sense. They don't have the time, they don't have the resources, they have to work and so on and so forth. And those people, some of those people, I'm sure in their heart, if they could, they would have their parents at home with them.
Yeah.
There are some where I believe their parents treated them so bad that there is no way on earth that they would want to look after them in their twilight years and would happily put them in a home. I don't blame them either. You know what I mean? But there are some people that have the resources, have the time, and their parents treated them really good, and they would still do that. And I don't understand.
Yeah, that's where it might, like, yeah, I get confused, because I just think, like, I'm not saying that evil people, no, but I do just kind of like, I'd
selfish.
And like, I just love to look into their brain and just understand, because even when I can, like, you know, not to get like all personal, but even where I can look at some ways that I think about my dad and how he's gone on, like, just with me growing up basically, and I'd still take him in, like, I'm just taking him like he's a fucking orphan, but you know what I mean, like, I've always thought about where I'll post him up. And obviously, you know, I know it's different as well when people have siblings compared to when they're the only child, and it's like, okay, would that just be left on you, or do you have like siblings to like share responsibilities with and all that? But I just couldn't imagine ever seeing like one of you guys.
I know, and
like,
see, and this is where I will still hold issue, because I'm like, I am no longer married to your father, but yet I'm going to be expected to live with him when I'm old. Like, I don't, you know.
You see how she's being spoiled already. before she's just happy that her children love her enough to want to keep her there. She's just complaining.
I'm just gonna make sure there's a lock on my door. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, ex-husband, if you're watching this, but yeah. Anyway, carrying on. There are cultures that actually do take very good care of their elderly, and I love these people for that and that alone. China, Japan, and South Korea are just a couple of examples. But don't get me wrong, countries like Sweden, Norway, Netherlands, they offer, according to Google, they offer top tier state funded care focusing on independence and community support. So I feel like it's still a thing where they would have the care for the elderly, but the family is still very much involved. So I don't know if that means that they would go to their homes or whatever. But if these other cultures can manage to do it, then why can't others?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like a few like TikToks that I've seen come up though, like, and I don't know if you've seen it as well. I can't remember, someone was sharing it with me, but of this, I'm pretty sure they were Korean, and it was this guy like beating his mum basically.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I think sometimes, now I'm not saying all the time, but in a lot of these like countries, because of standards of like what people are doing, and maybe like, I don't know for sure, but it might be a standard that, yeah, like we keep our family with us and this, that, and the third, that some people may feel pressured into doing stuff like that.
True.
Because to conform, you know what I mean? And then further making situations like that, you know what I mean? Or I've also seen ones of like people like doing like scams and stuff like on the elderly people that they're living with, whether that be their grandparents, their aunties, their uncles. So sometimes it's also like, even though it's like, yeah, great, you don't see many of them in homes, like there's also still like a dark side to like stuff as well. Like obviously naturally with everything
and bad in everything, you know what I mean? But I'm glad that you highlighted that, because I do remember seeing that video actually. Do you know what I mean? And once again, we're not saying it's everybody,
no, but like,
but it is.
I'd much rather in them situations put their mum into a home rather than do that. So I also feel like that's the other side. It's like people shouldn't feel pressured to do it if they know they can't, you know?
When I watched that video and I jumped in the comments, I do clearly remember somebody saying, oh, well, you know, maybe his mum treated him badly when he was growing up, and in a sense he's getting his own back. So that's another side to it. Do you know what I mean? And that would be spread over all cultures then, if that be the case. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just, even though that video was it was, it's not just you know. So yeah, I totally hear what you're saying there. That was a really good point, to be fair, Skylar. I really heard that, you know. But before we go, or is there anything else you wanted to say, my darling? Sorry.
No, not really, just like, I just find it mad, you know what I mean? Like, I just think, I get everyone has different perspectives in life and everyone's parents are different and so on and so forth. But I just think, like, don't know, man. Like peace and love, and I think even to strangers, like let alone to your parents. You know what I mean? I think forgiveness is a big thing, and even if your parents have done you dirty, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, like forget everything they've done and take care of them. But I think it's always nice to at least have that thing open in
Give
your
them
heart for like
grace.
that when it's their days are coming to an end. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's something that you're never gonna get back, and even if that is just making sure you visit them in the home you put them in. You know what I mean?
But there's that old adage when they say once a man, twice a child. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't think, I know this sounds crazy, and you know, maybe you shouldn't have to, but people, it's like people forget that children grow up.
Yeah.
So when you as a parent are treating your child in a, you know, you're ill treating your child basically, and then, you know, you get old, then you kind of should expect it, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? Unless, like you say, the person's got a really good heart, you know? But it's really interesting to me how many different, like how different countries deal with their elderly.
Yeah,
Do you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? In respects to others. It's interesting. So I thank you in advance for not sticking me in a nursing home. Although, once again, if you do change your mind, you know, because I might be a cantankerous old lady, you know.
And one beating and you'll learn to fix it.
See, after you just talking about the man abusing his mother.
I'm doing this because I love you.
Skylar.
Call it child line. What is it? What would you even call it? Elderly line.
I would listen. I'll set up one if that be the case. My goodness, like so. Yeah, if I do get too much, just put me in the one near Aldi rather than beat me.
Do you think I'll even be in Northampton to put you one in near Aldi? Like,
okay,
it'll never come to that. And my future kids, if you're watching this, yeah, if you know what's good for you, yeah,
rescue your granny.
They don't put me in a flipping home. I can't lie. I'd be so sad if they did that to me. And that's why I'd never do it. That's like you sending me to an orphanage.
Some of the rules you said that you're going to have for your children, it wouldn't surprise me if they tossed you.
What? No fizzy drink.
That's mean. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
but
goodness.
Before we go though, I'm going to share with everybody a story that my dearly departed grandmother shared with me once upon a time. And I think I must have been about 7 or 8. And I don't know. I just felt that the story came from her soul because she just told this, because it was my aunt was with me at the time. My aunt's like a year older than me. And she just told the story in what seemed to me a random way. But I realized that it was something deep in her soul. So the story goes like this. A young man was taking his elderly father to a nursing home, and he was carrying him along the road. And this road was a long road. So along the way, he stopped to rest his father on a tree stump so that he could take a breather, basically. His father began to cry, and he asked his father why he was crying. His father said, "I don't want to go to the nursing home." He picked up his father anyway and continued taking him to the nursing home. The years went by. The son had a son of his own, and then he became an old man. And so it was his son carried him along the same road that he'd carried his father once before. Along that road, his son rested him on the same tree stump he rested his father before him. He started crying and he told his son, no, he started crying and his son said, "Why are you crying?" And he said, "I don't want to go to the nursing home." And his son picked him up and turned back and carried him back to his home to take care of him in his last years. And that story always stuck with me to this very day. See, I can feel, and I feel emotional every time I recite that little story. And it was in that moment that I decided, no, I'll never put my parents in a old people's home. So if you're listening to this story and you're at a point in your life where you're considering putting your parents into a home, just stop for a minute, breathe, and take in this story. Because remember, the Bible says, "Honor thy mother and father, for thy days will be long." Ashe. So on that note, we're going to leave it here. I hope everybody has a really good rest of their week, and I'm sending an abundance of love and light. As always, it's goodbye from me, Michelle, and goodbye from Skylar.
Bye.
Bye. There's a lot of stops.